Hey guys, Ray from Love You RV. So I'm back with part 2 of my review of the EcoFlow Delta Max portable power station. We've been using it for about a week and a half now out camping off grid, and it's been actually really good. I'm quite impressed with this box. Much better than previous boxes I've even reviewed. It's just worked fabulous for us. Runs everything in our RV and charges really fast. So anyway, in this part 2 I'm going to do some more in-depth testing. I'm going to do some discharge tests and charging tests, and then we'll go through and show you what it can run in the RV, even as far as even our air conditioner it can run. Anyway, right now it's charged up to 100%. You can see on the display and the phone app there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to plug in a portable heater, probably be about a 600 watt load, which this should handle no problem. Be pretty light load for its 2400 watt inverter that it has, and we'll just see how long it takes, how long it will run it, how much capacity in watt hours it will have. I don't expect it, like the battery in this is I think a 2016 watt hour, but there's going to be overhead as far as the inverter and the fans and stuff, so you won't get all of that out of it. But I'm just curious to see how much capacity it truly has to run an AC appliance off it. So let's go plug this heater in. Okay, so we'll turn on the AC port here, and that makes 6 outlets live. You can see my kilowatt meter shows 120 volts. Just going to put it on watts for now, and I'll put the heater here on position 1. What do we got here on the watt meter? Yeah, right around 600 watts. And that's what it's reporting down here. 600 watt output. So I'll set my phone timer and we'll just run it until this heater exhausts the batteries and see how long we get. Let's come inside here so you can get a little clearer view of what's going on with the app. So it's showing output 600 watts, and that's the mode on the heater is 600 watts. It's showing it's going to last 2 hours and 50 minutes. And right now we're at 100% battery life. So we'll just let it go. One thing about this app, someone commented that you need internet for it to work, which isn't true. There is a cloud function that you can hook it up to the internet, and then you can see what's going on with your box from anywhere. And you do have to hook it up to internet if you want to update the firmware by the looks of it. But you can directly connect this to the box through Wi-Fi. And Wi-Fi doesn't mean you have to be on the internet. It just uses Wi-Fi and Bluetooth to communicate, but it goes directly to the box. You can be completely off grid and still have this app work. Just checking in here. We got about 20 minutes left. We're at 14%. It's been running straight out right around 600 watts. Let's just see how much time we've had here. We're at 2 hours and 16 minutes. Okay, so we're down to just a few percent left. It says 10 minutes. We're at 1.5 kilowatt hours used. Just about 2.5 hours. Still around 600 watts. And 121 volts, so the volts is staying pretty high. I'll just let it run right to 0. I like to take these boxes to 0 and just see if they can reboot after that and charge properly. Usually in the real world it's not a great idea to keep bringing it down to 0, but I guess for the life of the batteries it might be better just at around 10 or 15% to recharge it, but I like to test these things. So she's really hanging in there. Let's check the temperature, 86 Fahrenheit. Today it's around between 65 and 70 Fahrenheit ambient temperature, so that's not too bad. Still a solid output. Now we're up over 1.72 kilowatt hours. So far, this looks to be the best performing box that I've reviewed. As far as this test goes, I've done the exact same test with most of the other boxes that I've reviewed. Generally, like this has a 2016 watt-hour battery, I think. Generally, you won't get all your battery power out of it because the inverter is only so efficient, usually 88% or 90% efficient. And then they usually keep a reserve capacity on the battery. The battery management system won't let you run the battery down to zero, so they usually leave like a 10% buffer or something. But I believe when I did the Blue Yeti AC200P, it was somewhere around 1650 or something when it quit. This thing's already over 1730 watt hours, and it's past what it had anticipated. I think it was 2 hours and 45 minutes was what it was rated at on its display when I first started. So it's been basically 1% reading and 2 minutes left for about 15 minutes now. So it seems to hit a plateau at the bottom and just keeps going and going. We're up over 1.82 kilowatt hours now and approaching 3 hours of runtime, powering a 600 watt load. There we go, finally. So she hit the 3 hour mark. Now that I've run it all the way down to the point of cutoff, taken all the energy out of the box, I'm going to give a generator charge a try. I'm curious to see how much wattage I can put in from my 2000 watt Energizer generator. Now this thing has about a 1600 continuous wattage, so I'm hoping that this thing will be able to take 1600 watts out of the generator and recharge quite quickly. So let me fire the generator and we'll get the box going. I'm probably going to have to go into the app and adjust the charging input. You can change how much charge can come in through the AC power cord, anywhere from 200 watts all the way up to 1800 watts in 100 watt increments. And you see on the back here, all I have to do is plug this big cord in. It's kind of a cord they use for heavier electronics like computers and microwaves and stuff. But you notice one thing missing that a lot of other boxes have. A lot of other boxes have a big, huge power brick that you have to cart around and put out if you're going to charge anything. This one, everything is built into the box, so you just need the one power cord there, which is very sweet. There she is out there, generator charging it. Right now we got 188 watts going in, so I'll adjust it up. I had set it quite low. There we are, 200 watts. Let's bump that up. Charge speed, here we go. We'll go up. Let's go to 1500 watts. Starting to ramp up. You can hear the generator getting louder. RPM kicks on. It's nice that it comes up slow. It's easier on the generator than just one big surge. Seems to be handling that no problem. Let's go up to 1600. Oops. I bumped it up to 1700 watts. He's 1687, and my generator's still running, but it's starting to complain a little. There's a little red light flashing on it that means it's approaching the overload mark, but not overloading yet, so it's handling it. Wow, it's going to charge that box in no time. Well, let's go all the way and try 1800 watts. Didn't seem to change much, just went to 1705 watts. Didn't overload my generator though. I'm just going to let it go and see if that combo can actually fully charge it and how long it's going to take. But already it's climbing really fast. Probably get recharged in about an hour if the generator can keep up with it. Well, about the 48% mark, my generator did go into overload, poor thing, after about a half hour running, but basically it was running more than its specs, so I can't really fault it. The little red overload light was kind of flashing. So I've just changed this back to 1600 watts of charging, and we'll let her go until she finishes charging. So I noticed when it hit 92%, it actually dropped down briefly to 800 watts. It was humming along right around just under 1600 watts. And now it's kind of found a different level at 1200 watts. So I guess as you approach the end, it starts to slow down. But I also know the temperature up here is 109 Fahrenheit. So maybe there's some type of a temperature sensor that is able to adjust the charging. Anyway, we're almost fully charged anyway, so let's see what the time is. Here we go, just over an hour. That's a fast charge. Just about there, 99.49%. Still putting 1253 watts. And you can see the temperature is up to 111 Fahrenheit, but I noticed there's kind of a red zone up here, and it's just getting towards that red zone. Now today it's around 65-70 degrees out, but I did leave the box in the sun, so maybe that contributed to the heat coming up, but she's still running. Seems to have kind of plateaued, nothing much is changing, so I don't know how long it will run here, but I'll call that charged. It's good enough for me. About an hour and 15 minutes to get to that point, so very fast. Very impressed with that. Okie doke, let's do some tests of pretty average appliances people use in an RV. I'll go through and plug in some of our stuff, and we'll see how it reacts. I've taken the 30 amp shore power cord and just plugged it straight into the back here, and that way I can just run things off plugs in the RV. A close look at both displays. You can see right up here 60 watts. It's kind of like what various things are drawing in the RV, different loads that are always on. So let's first try a hair dryer. That's a popular one for people to use. I'll start with warm, low, and then go high. Handled it no problem. You can see down on this graph how it stepped up to the low and then higher. Next we'll try a good old toaster. Common thing. And it's drawing right around 920 watts. Powers that quite easily. Next we'll try the microwave. I think I have about an 1800 watt microwave here. Let's put it on beverage. Beverage 1. No problems. Next, I'm going to try the air conditioner. So we have a 13.5 K BTU Coleman Mach air conditioner. We'll see if it'll fire up and run that. Okay, seems to be running it. I kind of had a problem with the first time because I have a surge protector and it kind of popped off and clicked out, so I had to bypass the surge protector in the RV, and then the box ran. And you can see it's mostly the start that was the tough part. It's only actually taken around just under 1300 watts to run it. But you can see it really wouldn't run it for very long. It's showing 1 hour 25 minutes at this level. Now the compressor might cycle on and off, and you maybe would get 2 hours out of it. A lot depends on the outside temperature, and how much you're having to cool, how hard the air conditioner is working. But these boxes can be expanded upon. You can actually add 2 more of these to triple the amount of capacity you have. So you could get up to probably 6 hours, but still, it's air conditioners are quite the draw for these things. You can hear the fan running. One thing I like about this box is the fans aren't overly loud and obnoxious like some of the other boxes. It's actually quite muted. For the next test, I'm curious to see how this reacts if I try to draw too much energy off the inverter. So it's good for 2400 watts continuous. So I'm going to try running a little heater, and then I'm going to fire on the blow dryer, and that should go higher than what the box is rated for. There's the heater going, 1400. Fire up the that's the hair dryer on low. Now I'm going to go high. It's showing 2800 watts. Actually seems to be handling it. Well, let's try to flip the water heater on. That should do it. There we go. You saw it briefly hit 4,000 and cut out. And we're showing here flashing overload. Well, let's try that again, but with what they call X boost. They have this X boost that's supposed to give you 3600 watts, but it's supposed to be for things like heating elements and stuff, not sensitive type electronics. Give that a try. Crank the heater on again. Got a space heater running max. Now I'll flick on the water heater. And we'll turn on the hair dryer on low. Okay, what it appears to do when the X boost is on, when it needs more than wattage than normally it can put out, it actually lowers the voltage. You saw it drop down to 108 volts there when I requested more power. Yeah, so it kind of allows you to run higher wattage appliances, but what they're doing is they're lowering that voltage output. That's why it's not really good for sensitive electronic type gear, and more just loads like heater loads, like a hair dryer or a heater, or you know, your water heater, that type of stuff, where it's just a coil of wire that wouldn't be affected by a lower voltage. So it's kind of a little bit of a trick, but it's kind of handy to have. I don't think I'll actually use it that much. I'd rather have the pure inverter. It isn't affected like that. You can see that stayed solid there. But I'm amazed that it's actually putting out higher than rated. Rated at 2,400 watts, I believe, and it's got 2,872 there. So yeah, that's actually quite the amazing inverter. Seems to work really well. In case you're curious about the water heater, we have a 6-gallon water heater, and you can see to power it, it's 1435. I believe the element is rated 1440 watts, and I'm at 82% capacity right now, and this thing could run that load for about an hour. Kind of gives you an indication that yes, it could heat your water, but you'd use quite a bit of the box's capacity if you were doing it every day. Although if you have enough solar coming in, you know, this thing can take up to 800 watts of solar, so it wouldn't be as bad. You could actually, if this thing was full and you had solar coming in, you wanted to use it, you could use it to heat up your water when you're off grid. Getting a little breezy out there. Anyway, I have one more appliance test for you. Let's see how much capacity it takes to run one cycle on the Instapot here. It's pretty popular with RVers. We use it quite often. One that I use it for quite often is rice 12-minute cycle. So we're at 81% here. I'll let it go through its cook cycle, and then we'll come back and see how much it used. You can see this is a little 3-quart Instapot. Takes around close to 700 watts. Okay, finished its cook cycle, and we're sitting right on 76%, so in the neighborhood of 5% of the box capacity to run a cycle on this Instapot. So next I'm going to test it on solar charging. Now EcoFlow was kind enough to send me out this 400 watt solar panel that they sell. It's a folding panel, thin type panel, comes in this carrying case. Runs around 45 pounds, so first I'll just go and unfold it and set it up for you, and then we'll test charging the EcoFlow Delta Max. There we go. In all honesty, I find it a little cumbersome due to the weight, how it flops around. Each of those panels is 10 pounds or so, so it can get a little awkward. This is the stand they have. It's sort of their case turns into a stand. Has some carabiners here that fit into the grommets. I don't know how good that's going to be in the wind. I think that would blow over pretty quick, just like a big sail. It can lie flat on the ground, and that wouldn't go anywhere. You could stake it down or you could hang it on something. I'm probably going to strap it to something more substantial like my ladder. Anyway, it's all set up and pointed at the sun. Has a couple cables out the side here and some MC4 connectors that match the cord that came with the box itself. The box in here, actually it's putting in about 375 watts, so almost 380 watts on a 400 watt panel is pretty good. Can't complain about that. So this thing can actually take 2 of these arrays, because you can charge up to 800 watts of solar to that box. I don't have 2 of these, so I'm going to test it with another ground array I have that's 600 watts, but it's only 24 volt. But combining the 2, I should be able to approach the 800 watt maximum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the other array and put it in series with this array, and we'll see what we get. There we go. 785 watts, so pretty close to 800 watts. I'll have to give it a pass for that. Okay, so I decided to run the solar at the same time as the charger, the AC charger via the generator. So combined I'm getting a little over 1900 watts. Well, there you go. There's some more in-depth performance tests of the EcoFlow Delta Max. Hope that's helpful if you're looking into buying one. I've used it for over a month now, and I have to say it's probably the best of these type of boxes I've ever used so far. It's pretty impressed with its performance and usability, and it really hasn't had any major flaws or anything like that at all. So I'm going to use it another few weeks or a month, and I'll come back with my final review, kind of real world review of it, and give you my pros and cons and my final determination. Anyway, till next time, Ray from loveyourrv.com. Thanks for watching, everyone. Cheers, folks.